Breaking right now, a district judge in New Jersey ruling tonight that Mahmoud Khalil, the alleged Columbia protest mastermind taken into custody by ICE, cannot be detained or deported by the Trump administration, at least not for now.
That's right. The judge granting Khalil's preliminary injunction, the administration has been given until 9:30 a.m. on Friday to provide another justification for detaining Khalil, other than Secretary of State Marco Rubio's determination that he's a threat to foreign policy, or else Khalil will be released.
And on to this trigger warning. Gavin the Grifter and his big, bodacious blather about President Trump's so-called Gestapo incoming.
This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next.
America's watching as no good Newsom wages a war against Trump for doing what Gavin refuses to do: get control of anarchy in Los Angeles. And that's what's happening here. The failed governor can control this, but he's choosing not to.
We know this because America also watched during the pandemic as the governor's COVID cops treated everyday Californians like prisoners for daring to leave their homes or breathe fresh air without paper muzzles on their faces. So let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we?
We shall. April 2020, Los Angeles deputies arrested a lone paddleboarder out on the open seas. His crime? Violating Newsom's stay-at-home mandate.
January 2022, upset parents rally outside a Christian preschool after the state's social services department shut it down for violating Newsom's mask mandate.
And here's the doozy. Also January 2022, Governor Newsom, wait for it, activates the National Guard to bolster the state's COVID testing capacity.
That was after everybody in the state had the chance to get the jab. Strange. We were reliably informed that activating the National Guard is a dangerous escalation.
And who can forget the cherry on top of all of this? In 2020, when Newsom used police force to lock down the plebes in his state, Greasy Gavin was busted fine dining at the French Laundry, sipping expensive wine.
The hypocrisy is a theme. This pompadour of pomposity is all talk and no backbone. His career is going up in flames along with his state. And when Los Angeles burns, the ruling class deflects. The governor's true feelings on Californians right now, let them eat smoke. But Trump's feelings, let them finally live free and safely.
Yep. Let's bring in the Federalist reporter, Brianna Lyman, to discuss. Brianna, it's very obvious that Gavin Newsom is setting himself up for 2028. Yeah. He's trying to be the face of the resistance against President Trump. Will it work?
It won't work because Democrats and Gavin Newsom have really put themselves in a trap. So the reason Gavin Newsom is really trying not to call this a riot is because to call it a riot, one, acknowledges this is not a peaceful protest, and two, you would have to then admit what is behind this riot, and that is mass migration that he has championed, that his party has championed, destabilizes communities. And when Americans see the American flag being burned in the street and a Mexican flag being raised, they're not shying away, they're digging their heels in deeper. They want these mass deportations, they want these policies, so they turn away from the Democratic Party. So Gavin Newsom has two options, they both suck. He either acknowledges these are riots and quells them, which in turn means he also has to readjust his position, or he does what he's doing now, which is ignore them and send the message to the American people that he cannot keep his constituents safe.
Tomorrow, there are, in front of House Oversight, is hearing about sanctuary cities, and it will be sanctuary governors, including Walz, Hochul. And I wonder if it would never be a problem if these states and cities honored the ICE detainers and did not put these dangerous illegal aliens back out on the streets, those ICE agents would not have to be there arresting dangerous illegal aliens. It's just this circular nonsense. There's no way that they can defend putting, say, oh, in Massachusetts, child rapist back out on the street who should never be in the United States in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, in California, Bill Malugin just reported one of the individuals arrested was involved in a murder in his native country. It was out on the streets. But Dagan, the problem goes further than violent illegal aliens. Mass migration writ large is a problem, especially illegal mass migration. And what we're seeing in California is this is an occupation. This is a declaration against the sovereignty of the United States of America when they are waving their foreign flags because they don't want to be deported because they're here illegally. So it transcends the violence now. It's if you are here illegally, you must go.
So we're going to show you a video of two anti-ICE protesters laughing in the face of a mother as she tries to get to work. A video that should live in the mind of every single Democrat when they wonder why they lost minorities and the entirety of the working class in America.
But I have a kid. If I don't, and these people are having their children taken and their parents. What about my kids? I need to get a job.
Look at this.
That's what happens to my kids. I can't help you. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do?
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work.
So they built this pyramid, the liberals, of adversity, right? And I guess, so why is the woman of color who works, who has a family, she's been kicked off the pyramid in favor of the jerk with the man bun and BO? I can't keep up with the insanity of this party.
Yeah, but what you're watching is a collision between the old Democratic coalition, black women, and the new progressive elite, which has become the loudest voice. And black women have traditionally been the bedrock of the Democratic Party. But yet you have these affluent, white, college-educated people treating this disruption on the streets as theater as moral heroism, mocking a black woman for wanting to go to work. So the reason we saw a shift in November, and we will continue to see a shift, is this average mother says, hold on, my priorities about economic stability, safety, basic respect to let me go to work is being sidelined because these progressives have taken over the Democrats' priorities. So until Democrats reshift and give it back to the people who make up their base, they're going to keep hemorrhaging those voters.
Well, we can't technically fact check the BO part, but I think it's a pretty safe guess that the man bun guys got, yeah. So also they don't work. That's why they don't understand the concept of a job. They have all the time in the world to go out and disrupt. The real people work.
Would you be surprised if that woman's last name was Walton? Because that's the same, you know, it's the Walmart, crazy liberal Walmart money. Brianna Lyman, great to see you.
Thank you.